Google Chrome is bringing AI mode to the address bar, and there's kind of a little screenshot up there in the top right. That's the Gemini icon. So people will be able to interact with AI directly in the search bar.
Morning, lads. How are we?
Well,
How are things? How are you guys?
yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, we haven't had you for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, I had. It was nice. Now, I was watching my son and myself over in Lanzarote, so it was nice.
Very
Keeping up
good.
to date in the news.
The podcast has been suffering greatly since you've been gone.
No. Look, the handsome people are still on it, so it's grand.
Are they? They're somewhere with the experts, are they? The handsome people.
All yet to show.
So what are we looking at this morning? Okay, so this is kind of a big one in the SEO world this morning. So Google has removed the ability to see 100 search results per page, and everybody's Search Console data looks skewed ever since it happened. So it very quietly and unannounced, it removed the search parameter for number equals 100, which lets you see 100 results per page. Because of this, like rank tracking is kind of all over the place. Third-party tools and internal methods, they're showing kind of wildly volatile and not very reliable data. So it's kind of very hard for SEOs to get an actual proper read on how their websites are doing in search.
There is a conspiracy theory around this that they've done it so that they can introduce AI overview performance and not have people be able to look historically at other classic performance and say, yeah, see Google, your traffic AI overviews don't deliver shit. So now they've taken that ability. That's a complete conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
But one I'd probably think, if I was bringing out a new tool that was going to completely kill traffic and clicks, maybe it's a good time to alternate this report.
Yeah, I think in the article there, they looked at 300 websites or something, and like nearly 90% of them had lost impressions, and nearly 80% saw a decrease in keywords. And then they're kind of, the other theory is that SEO scraping tools were kind of using this parameter for years, and then that artificially inflated the impression counts. So the other kind of conspiracy theory is like, was the data ever real in the first place? Yeah. Which, one of your favorite topics, Keen, data integrity. It's kind of brings up an interesting point about that. So like, if data was inflated by bots and scrapers, is what you're seeing now, is that like more realistic? And does it give you if it's true, does it give you a better picture of your overall visibility?
Potentially. I have a feeling whoever's in charge of the data set is going to say that this is way better, way more accurate. And
they would say that.
Yeah.
And Google hasn't said whether this is going to be permanent or if it's like an accident. So don't really know if this is the new normal for SEO reporting.
Okay.
This was an interesting one too. I came across this one on LinkedIn, and then it was in the SEO roundtable this morning. So Schema, there's been a couple of different tests, and it's kind of showing that Schema doesn't help with AI search visibility. So the last kind of couple of weeks and months, there's been a bit of a debate about whether using structured data or Schema, same thing, helps with visibility in AI-powered search results like Google AI overviews. No one has really done any big tests on it, but a few people have done tests recently, and it's kind of showing that the LLMs, they either ignore or they destroy the schema data during their kind of language training processes. So that screenshot there is from an SEO, Mark Williams Cook, pulled that off LinkedIn. So in his post, which is linked there on the bottom, he kind of explains how the LLMs, they process the page and then they basically destroy the schema markup instead of using it. But then there's other SEOs arguing that, while Schema is not a direct ranking factor for AI, it's still very important for helping Google to understand the page content. And I think that's probably the important thing here, right?
Yeah, I really like Mark William Cook. He's a really good SEO. He puts up some fantastic content, in fairness. But yeah, like we have been saying this, that AI uses schema markup to do it. But okay, if this theory is proven wrong, is it done on every search? I don't know. But one of the big things is SEO is schema helps with SEO and helps you rank in search engines. So the higher up you rank in search engines, the better that you have an opportunity to rank in the AI search. So the correlation then is, well, anyone who's in the AI search and ChatGPT or other LLMs are using Google's platform to choose which results. So in turn, if you're using and doing this for SEO, then it should have a positive impact on LLMs. It just might be the crawlers aren't particularly taking it on board, which is perfectly fine. But that doesn't mean they're not taking the results of your positioning in Google into consideration as well. So, but yeah, it's interesting article.
Yeah, and just on that as well, like I think the way kind of AI models work, it's always changing. So like what doesn't work today might work in 2 weeks' time or in a month or whatever. So I suppose, like I said, kind of implementing things that are best practice like schema. It's just a form of what would be the word, like future proofing for when it does take it into account, if it ever does.
If it ever does, yeah.
Okay, so
Oh, and yeah, I thought the nice little graphic there of our YouTube channel where you can watch back all these fascinating
so
podcasts.
cheese.
This was an interesting article I read there this morning from Stephanie Wallace over on Search Engine Land. So she is the senior vice president of marketing at Nebo Agency. Basically, in the article there, she's arguing that video content, it's not like a nice optional extra that you kind of add into your content strategy, but it's becoming a core source material for SEO. And this is largely down to AI overviews. So, like, what she's kind of arguing is that AI powered answers, they tend to pull more from videos like YouTube, TikTok, Reddit, places like that, especially for like how to or experiential searches. Um, so like that kind of user generated content, we're kind of seeing more of a shift to that in search. So then for like a lot of topics, videos now is becoming the most authoritative and helpful answer. And brands that and companies that are just relying solely on text, you might be at a risk of losing visibility.
Yeah, and if you think about it, even outside of the medium, it's like, think of the users. Most users are moving towards video format to intake their information now. They're not
Yeah.
using blogs. They might go to a website to find out more when they're really trying to get into a topic, but they will be looking at video first. And I think she says in the article there, I had a quick look, that it's also to do with like TikToks and Reels and short
Yeah.
form influencing long form. So, yeah.
Yeah, and she has some tips there. Excuse me, like in the thing for it's an interesting read. I check it out.
Oh, this one I saw today, actually. Yeah. So, this is going to be a bit of a game changer if people understand what it is and if they really highlight it. But Google Chrome is bringing AI mode to the address bar, and there's kind of a little screenshot
Oh,
up there in the top right. That's the Gemini icon. So people will be able to interact with AI directly in the search bar with Gemini, not just outside of it. So that's going
that's
to be,
crazy.
yeah, it's really going. Can you imagine the amount of data that all the amount of Chrome users worldwide, the amount of data that they're going to have now
Yeah.
pulling in here? Imagine how much that's going to fuel advertising, interest, all that kind of thing. It's going to
Oh
be,
yeah.
um, it's really going to help. Well, people pay media campaigns, I suppose, but it's going to be an interesting one. And we guaranteed all the browsers will bring this out.
Yeah, definitely.
So marketing tip of the week.
I stuck this one in there, and yeah, my ChatGPT generated image here. I said make it colorful. But yeah, one of the big things that is a correlation online at the moment is content decay does happen to articles. So if we have an article from 2023 and it's ranking, it's starting to go from position to page 2. Sometimes it's not that the content isn't fantastic. It's that Google feels there's other better pieces of more relevant and recent pieces of content out there that they should reference, especially in some highly competitive industries. So how do we get back up to the top of those search results? Well, you have to republish and refresh the content. Now, it's not good practice to just hit a republish button with a date and change the date on it. That's not what Google wants, and it's not what search engines want. They want you to actually make something. So making sure you're adding in some new internal links if there's new blog posts that have come out that you can reference. Is there other things that have changed on the article? There might be newer posts that you can reference. Is there more statistics around the topic that you're covering? Should you add in a video now to support it? As we just said, video is now becoming a core part of things. Maybe that might be a nice addition to posts. Does the headline need to be updated? Is there a date in the headline? Is there a date in the title? Does that need to be updated to reflect more modern times? Can we add in images? Something like that. And if you're doing those things and you're genuinely making a good improvement to an article, you have the ability to try and get back up under a keyword position that you once had. Cool. And outside of just search engines, the LLMs and AI search, they're looking to provide the most relevant recent information. So you're not only doing it for positions in search results, but you're also trying to do it to get mentions with all these LLM search, AI search features,
Cool.
Does Google have like a bias towards just newer content like in itself, or is it just solely based on the content itself, or does it swing a bit of a bias towards newer?
Well, the recency is definitely something. There might be a bias if websites are all on a level playing field, and it's like New York Times and I don't know the LA Times, and they have two topics, and the LA Times doesn't update one of their pieces, but the New York Times does, then maybe that will definitely get more preference, But if someone has a really good piece of content, but someone has a newer piece, but it's not as good, so the quality would always come down to a part of it. But there is definitely recency and relevancy will be way more, because like if you have an article and you're ranking under, I don't know, think of a celebrity. Robert Downey Jr. You have an article on him, on his bio, and if you haven't updated it but someone else has, and it now has his new films in it but your one doesn't, then that might get preference over it, especially if there's a number of mentions online complimenting and supporting the fact that he is in those movies. Then that way the article will show up. But that is something to definitely consider.
Yeah. I think the adding a video to the top of an article like that, I think is a nice idea. Like you were saying, I think we did that for one or two.
Yeah. It can. Sometimes you have to think about the intent before you do it. It can be a really good factor in it. It could be adding images. It just means you want video to be the main portion of the article. But yeah, it is something that can definitely help.
Yeah. So, shallow dive of the week. I think you put this in, Mary.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen this, but
I had a quick look.
Meta, they launched their new, is it Meta Ray-Bans, and kind of a neural band kind of thing for it as well.
Yeah, I saw that. It detects wrist twitches or thumb tap.
But these kind of Meta Ray-Bans, which is kind of a weird name, they're like AI-powered glasses, and they launched them at this conference and didn't go great. The kind of segment there on the screen, I think he's a TikTok chef, I'm not really sure. But he basically asked the AI assistant to get a recipe for like a steak sauce. So instead of getting the step-by-step instructions, the AI got confused and just kind of thought he was like halfway through the recipe, and then kept insisting your man had already mixed the ingredients and tried to kind of go on to later steps.
You should have done a better prompt.
This is it.
I'm starting from scratch. I haven't done anything.
And he tried a few times to kind of bring it back, being like, no.
I don't know why he didn't just say, can we restart it, or can we go back to this step? He just kept asking the same thing. But then in the next, basically it didn't work, and then they cut back to Zuckerberg, and he was doing a demo where he was answering a WhatsApp call with the Neuroband.
That looked cool.
It looks cool, yeah, but he couldn't answer the call, and they had to kind of scrap that as well. And yeah, they blamed the Wi-Fi in the venue for kind of causing a bit of a lag. Now, they did both keep interrupting the thing, so that could be it as well. But yeah, just a little bit embarrassing.
Yeah, it was a bit of a train wreck. I felt terrible for that guy, the poor chef.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
It reminded me of when your man Musk, Elon Musk, did the Cybertruck and how
he broke the window.
He broke the window, yeah.
Mind you, when that happened, they belted the shit out of that car for ages.
Yeah. And you know what? It was probably more publicity than if the window didn't break. So maybe in the long run.
Yeah.
What are they saying? No
publicity is bad publicity.
Well, yeah, it's if it was the Wi-Fi, it's kind of interesting enough because, like, everyone's these AI assistants and all these AI tools, but it's brilliant having this kind of $1 billion $1 billion kind of software. But then, if you can't get good Wi-Fi, why use it?
Yeah, it's a grand get out of jail free card, isn't it? Whenever anything goes wrong, to blame the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Mind you, this probably is the future, isn't it?
Yeah.
But to be honest, they probably should have partnered with someone who's good at technology, like Apple.
Yeah. Right. So, a few of the trends of the week. This is just the last 24 hours in Ireland searches. So, bit of Champions League is kind of coming out on top here. Newcastle, Barcelona, Man City. Cian McPhillips was a big one yesterday, and Irish runner. I don't know if you saw that, 800
Yeah,
meters.
you broke the Irish record for 800 meters.
Yeah, it was very impressive. He came first in his semi-final, so into the final of the World Championships. I wonder, is that on today? Could very well be. Luke Littler, I don't know, did you see that? I think that's trending because he made a video making it look like he was retiring.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I don't know, does anyone know yet if it's kind of a spoof or if it's a real thing, but he made a big, long video kind of saying, look, I've had a great career, but it's time for me to step away after 2 years. Like,
he's not even 18.
Yeah. So I think people are in a panic over that. Culture night then, it's culture night tonight. So yeah, there's obviously a yellow rain warning. I think I'd say we've yet to have a week where there hasn't been a weather warning in the trends.
I'm looking forward to this House of Guinness series.
Yeah, that premiered as well yesterday. I think in the Lighthouse Cinema in Dublin. So the first episode they premiered it. So that should be.
Jarlath Burns. Jarlath Burns. He's the GAA president, isn't he?
He could be.
Is he going for Sinn Féin president? He's hardly going for that, is he?
Oh yeah, they're still wondering who the Sinn Féin was. I heard Cillian Murphy was on the radio this morning. They were asking him, was it going to be him?
I don't know. What is the story with the presidency now? Who's the candidate?
Jim Gavin is kind of the big one at the minute.
Catherine Connolly.
Heather Humphreys is the Fine Gael one. So,
I saw a lot of news outlets, all right, saying, bringing up that Fine Gael told their TDs not to vote for anyone but Fine Gael. But I'm like, well, if that's your team, you're going to vote for your team. But
yeah, it's a funny thing, right? When the parties back the presidential candidates, because you don't know if they're not part of the party, but they're as good as.
Yeah, it just signifies, hey, we're doing great. People trust.
But there's not that much candidates at the minute so it's it'll be interesting. I think Conor McGregor's after bowing out anyway eventually. So.
I saw Simon Harris doing a thing on him saying, it says he was never in this race.
That was very good. That was a good impression.
That was very good.
So the helpful tool of the week then we stuck in Metricool. So this is what we use for kind of social media scheduling and posting. So we use it for ourselves actually and for a few of our clients. So basically you can kind of attach all of your different social media platforms to the one hub, and then you can kind of control everything from there. And then you can obviously look back on your stats as well and stuff all in one place. So it's very helpful if you're posting to TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, which we're kind of doing all of them now. So it makes it a whole lot easier, a whole lot faster to have it all in one place.
Yeah.
and you don't have to even have the same caption for everything saying just push them all out. You can, even though they're all in this one hub, you can kind of go in and kind of edit each one and make differences, because obviously different, like the likes of LinkedIn, you'd want a different sort of caption than you would on something like
Yeah.
a YouTube short. So you can still, there's still a nice bit of kind of customizable tools in there as well. But geez, I think just the speed it gives you for posting stuff is brilliant.
Yeah, no, very handy. And we haven't hooked it up to ads or anything yet. That might be something we look at in the future as well.
Yeah. So, gonna ask the experts a few questions now.
We're back.
We're back.
So, we should have like some sort of music there, some sort of opening, smoke rising. The experts walk in.
Stone Cold Steve Austin music, walk out. glass breaking.
Yeah. So, first of all, how do you avoid penalties for low quality AI text in an article?
We kind of discussed this a little bit, where there isn't really penalties for it. I think you can get penalized or downgraded. You might get a notification if you're using AI content at scale, which would be like getting AI to generate like 1,000 articles a day for different locations. Like that is something I think you can get hit for. But penalty for low quality AI content, you're not going to get penalized. You're just not going to get rewarded with the top spots.
Yeah, I think the kind of key thing there is the low quality part. So as Keane said, it won't reward content that's low quality and not helpful, which you can very easily do in AI, in like ChatGPT or whatever, if you don't check it yourself.
Yeah. And AI Invest probably did away with a lot of the fears of any penalizations for AI.
I think we might have to come back to that one, actually.
Oh, really?
let me just I'll double check that now in a second. We can move on to the next question.
At the time, anyway.
So I guess like you would just kind of treat it as an assistant rather than an author, and just make sure there's an actual real life person checking, reviewing, and editing everything. If you create something in AI, like the final piece should be, unique and have your own experiences, insights, and your own kind of a human voice.
AI Invest, just to update there, I had a quick look at SEMrush. In August 2025, they had 6,779,000 estimated monthly visitors, and today they have 819.
Wow.
Or 819,000. So big drop.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder, did it get too much? Did it get too much
press? It got too much press, and I'd say there must have been some sort of manual notification on that, or downgrade. It had to.
Yeah,
the content's quality. Why didn't it keep ranking? It's because it got so much press, and I'd say search engines are like, "Oh, we can't have everybody doing this."
Yeah. True.
My opinion,
it wasn't.
Yeah.
Who knows what could have happened after that?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, what are the benefits of a PMAX campaign in Google Ads?
Okay, so PMAX campaigns are doing absolutely fantastic for a lot of clients. The ones that are doing the best are clients that already have a brand name, because unfortunately PMAX brings in your brand as well. Now you can exclude it so that it's not, and then it does not do half as good. Now, why are PMAX campaigns doing so fantastically lately? Especially, why are they beating classic remarketing campaigns and everything? Well, first of all, PMAX brings in everything, so you're following the user journey a lot more, and you can, like, I could do a search on the website today and then be looking at my TV later on that night, and PMAX has triggered a video ad to follow me around because it knows I'm very interested, and then I could get a Gmail ad, right? So it follows me. But one of the biggest things with it is, and this is something that's happening with data integrity, as Mark, you were saying, my favorite keywords. What's happening if you go to a website? What's going on? Your cookie is coming in there, and our cookie banner, and people are opting out of tracking, right? So they're opting out of tracking, and we don't know who they are. We can't remarket to them. That does not mean Google doesn't know who they are, because they are on Chrome. Right. So they're on a platform. So Google knows who the potential users are that are visiting our websites, even if we don't. They know their history behind their searches. So Google just knows way more about it. And this is AI intelligence campaigns. And that's why AI PMAX campaigns do so well. But like, there's pros and cons for them. Pros are they're following people around. They're getting really good results. They're not giving you the exact keywords that someone found you under. They're giving you, you probably got this percentage of users converted under these keywords. They're not giving a great breakdown, and that's because they want you to put your trust in them. Because someone was saying there that eventually they reckon Google will go away from a keyword base advertising, and the reason that'll happen is because if people start they're not using search engines like they are now. They're going to use them like prompts. Google want to make sure that their advertising is kind of like Facebook's version of it, where the right audiences of people are going after. And that's why PMAX is going to continue to grow. And that's why they're pushing demand gen as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. What are the most important numbers to track right now in SEO?
Well, important numbers have always been clicks, because that means you've gotten visitors. That's what we were always judged on as an SEO agency. The more clicks, the more you could basically map a journey where it was an impression, clicks, site visitors, which is landing page views, and then how many people went to convert, and you had your conversion rate and everything. Unfortunately, that is not the case at the moment for a lot of informational-based content. Service-based people and branded websites won't really see a massive effect on this at the moment, but they will in the future. But impressions are probably the main thing. Are your impressions going up under the right kind of keywords? And like, the most important metrics for any business is the sales, the conversion rates, and the are the leads that are coming into your website. So like, those are the things that we're really stressing the clients now at the moment, that, okay, look, we're going to lose a lot of data, but we have to look at what data we do have, and at the end of the day, is this converting into leads? Like, is the content marketing campaigns that are going ahead, if we're doing this informational based content and not just commercial, is it really bringing people on a journey? Are you getting brand visibility? Are more people coming into your pool? And then if you're getting brand visibility, is that helping with your PMAX campaigns and your other, marketing initiatives? So yeah, I'd say impressions, but leads, sales.
Yeah.
It's just, clicks are still going to have to be reported on, but the value of a click is going to become so much more relevant to a business.
Yeah.
Right. What's one simple way a business can use AI to get ahead?
Like, everyone wants AI at the moment. Like, they're all, how do I integrate AI into my business? What can I do to get quicker results? They think that you can just plug it in. How do I automate everything? And in some cases, like N8N is really good at developing. Like, you can use it for your social media, you can use it for producing SEO articles, but someone has to be there to approve stuff at the end of the day. But I do think that processes can be helped with this. Documentation will be a really good one. I think that any strategies, I think the data analysis is a massive thing. You're never going to see any human look at data the way one of these tools can do it, whichever one you're using, Gemini, ChatGPT. If you import statistical information into these tools, they are going to give you so much more. So it's speed to finding information, I think, is one of the biggest, is one simple way business can use AI to get ahead. Definitely data analysis, content creation is definitely something, and planning. Like, there's massive. If you're not using these tools to do these kind of generic tasks, you're really not going to get ahead as quick as you should be. And your competitors are all using it.
Yeah.
Like, we can see how fast someone, and like, even with ourselves, when we're doing work for clients now at the moment, our clients are now getting so much more for the same amount of time. Or any new clients that are coming on board, we're able to do more for them for less cost, because they want to use AI in their strategies. Like, if we had to plan out an SEO strategy without the use of AI, we could be there for a day, half a day, but now we're able to like get a nice skeleton and then rework it with the client within an hour or two, which is completely different.
Yeah.
I guess it's like sped up and is streamlining a lot of the things that you were doing anyway. Is like one of the main use of AI at the minute anyway. It's just kind of streamlining the things you have to do anyway.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing is, like, I wouldn't be taking human element out of your AI strategy. It's a tool that you use to accelerate what you were already doing.
Yeah. Right. Is it better to trust AI bidding or set bids yourself for paid ads?
So with the AI bidding, it's the automated bids. So this would be like your ROAS, where you you allow them to do the bids, and you just say you want to get a 1,200 return, or for every $1 or €1 I spend, I want to get $12 back. Even your this was paid media, enhanced or maximized clicks, all those kind of ones, maximize for conversions. Versus manual CPC is the real question here. So manual CPC is where you set the bid and you say, I don't want to pay more than 50 cents per click. Not many people are using the manual CPC level. The only clients that we're doing that with now is if we have low budget campaigns that we're working for smaller businesses, we try and use manual CPC at the start to see what the cost per click is for the important keywords. That side of things I still like seeing. I don't even know how long that's going to be there. Eventually they'll take it away. But that's a great way where you can see, okay, this is what I could expect to pay per click without relying on the AI to adjust my bidding for me or rely on their automated bidding. But I personally like to see if I can do, especially on search ads. PMAX, no good. You have to use their versions. And it's only on the search ads now, or shopping campaigns even, where you can do it. But eventually, once you have a number of conversions in your account, AI is that the bidding should be done on their automated bids.
Okay.
Cool.
Right, folks, that's us.
Very good.
Brilliant.